Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 4 of Man vs. Artificial Intelligence. My name is Blake. I am the host here with this show. This video is brought to you by the American Civil War Gaming Club. If you want to check us out, you can go to acwgc.net to check us out there and learn more about the WDS Civil War Gaming Series. In this particular video, I am going to continue to do battle against the artificial intelligence in the WDS games. This will be my second battle against the AI, and I'm actually going to head right back to the battlefield of Antietam. And this time, I'm going to select scenario number 154, the Battle of Antietam AI Challenge. The first time I played against the AI, I played them in a game which was designed as a dynamic game, which did not give the AI any script, and which allowed them to make their own decisions. Now that battle did not go well at all for the AI. So perhaps, as Rich Walker said, the AI poses a greater challenge when they are scripted. So I'm going to test them out here on this battlefield to see if they perform any better when they do have a script as opposed to when they're dynamic. Alright, so here is the battlefield. I will once more be playing as Robert E. Lee, and the AI will be playing as George McClellan. Here are the rules I am using. These are the same ones that I used before. Once more, I'm not going to do any sort of gamey playing. That'll just be a house rule that I use for myself. I am going to counterattack the enemy if an opportunity presents itself, but by and large, I'm going to resist the urge to ride behind their lines and just cause chaos. Here is the backstory for the battle. It should be familiar to you. This game is billed as an AI challenge, which should be played as the Confederates against the AI. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now there are some big changes between this scenario and the historical scenario. I guess that's why this one is considered an AI challenge. Now the biggest change is that the entire Union Army is free to move by 9 a.m. in this scenario. In the historical one, that is definitely not the case. There are entire corps that will probably not be able to get into the battle in the historical scenario because they remain fixed for nearly the entire time. But in this one, their entire army is free to move by 9 a.m. That should give the AI enough manpower to attack and perhaps defeat my army if their forces are used wisely. And again, this is a scripted battle as opposed to a dynamic battle. So whatever the AI is going to do has already been predetermined. So I'm going to find out whether or not when they're scripted, they can perform better. And this scenario is also 6 turns longer than the traditional Battle of Antietam scenario. So we're going to go all the way to nightfall in this game. Now there are a few more surprises with this scenario, which I discovered as I was playing it. And I'll get to those because they were interesting twists which I did not see coming. Alright, here are the armies for the two sides. The Confederates are outnumbered more than 2-1 with infantry, but they do have higher quality, and both sides have an awful lot of artillery. Alright, so my plan going into this battle, you know what? It's exactly the same as it was before. I'm going to cover my left flank and center with Jackson's Corps, reinforced by Hood's division. I'm going to have Stuart over on his left flank. And then I'm going to have Longstreet protect my right flank and send troops where needed. So I'm going into this with the same plan that I used in the traditional Battle of Antietam. Alright, well let's get into it and let's see if the AI can perform any better in this game. Here's the way the battlefield looks at the very start. I'm now going to rotate the turn to the end of turn number 1. And all the AI forces of course disappear as Fog of War is turned on. And not surprisingly, there's no enemy sightings just yet, but the AI took a long time to move their men. And this was immediately noticeable to me. When I played the historical scenario, the first turn for the Federals just took a few moments. In this game, it took them a very long time to move, so they're definitely already stirring. For myself, I did a lot of moving as well. I discovered that D.H. Hill's division was unfixed, as was John Bell Hood's. So I think the designers did this to give the Confederates a better chance to prepare their line because they're going to be attacked very heavily in this battle. At least that's what I think. Now, just as I did in my previous game, I am once more going to divide Jones's division. And again, I just have no choice. I need to get manpower down by Burnside's bridge and the fords, and I also need to get some men up to cover the Boonesboro Pike leading into Sharpsburg across the middle bridge. And the only way I can do that is to divide Jones's division. Alright, as I said, with D.H. Hill free to move, which is very nice, I've been able to spread out his division more, and I feel like I can defend a little easier along this entire line, or at least that is my hope going into it. Having the availability to move Hill and Hood, it's really nice. Alright, let's go ahead and move to turn number 2. And I'm just continuing to shift my forces around. I've already got Hood up near the front lines, Jackson is over on my left with Stuart, Ewell is in my center, and then I have D.H. Hill over on the right flank of Jackson's corps. Moving forward to turn number 3. And the AI advanced on Nicodemus Hill during this turn, but luckily I was already gone. There was no way I was just going to hang out in that area and let the AI attack my guns unprotected, so I obviously fell back to protect them, and now all those guns are up with Jackson's division. Meanwhile, there was another change from the historical scenario. In this game, Hampton's brigade arrives earlier, 3 hours earlier than in the normal battle. So that's nice, I get about 500 more cavalrymen on the board here, and they should be able to help Stuart out over on my left flank. Rotating to turn number 4. This is the first turn of day, so we can see a little bit more on the battlefield. And I have to admit, the AI is playing smarter than in the dynamic game. And it at least seems like they have a plan. I don't know what that plan is or if it will work, but at least they have a plan, it seems. But they are not being aggressive right now, and they are giving me tons of time to set up my forces, build breastworks, get my guns where I want them, and they're going to pay for that later on. You can't give the Confederates in this scenario all this free time to do what they want. Not only that, I'm saving a lot of ammunition right now because I don't have any targets. So the AI not attacking here actually does me a favor. I'm just saving rounds for later when I really need them. And as I said, I'm just building breastworks, unlimbering my guns, and waiting. Sooner or later, the AI will attack, and when they do, it's going to be that much harder for them. Alright, moving to turn number 5 now. McLaws' division was free to move this turn, which is 1 hour earlier than they usually are in the historical scenario. So that was a welcome change. But to be honest, I have no idea where to move them. The enemy is not yet attacking. So where do they go? Well, I'm kind of debating it in my head. I could send them up to the left flank to reinforce Jackson. I could send them up towards the Westwoods to get behind my center. Or I could send them over to the middle bridge area. I'm not really sure. So I'm just going to wait and see where they're needed most before I commit them to any one area. And the AI continues to move, but not attack. All of their movement phases are taking quite a while, but nothing's really going on yet. Alright, moving to turn number 6 in the game. And still, nothing really going on. The Union long-range artillery is at least firing in this battle, which, compared to the last battle, is something different. But all their guns have been ineffective so far and haven't had any effect on me. I did decide to move McLaws' division behind my center over on Jackson's side. That way they can go where needed if the enemy does eventually show themselves. Alright, moving to turn number 7 in the game. And during this turn, Walker and Anderson's divisions were released. That's earlier than usual, so I'm not going to complain about that either. It's nice to have all these extra men available to move where I need them to move. For Walker's division, he's going to send one brigade up to the Sharpsburg area to act as a general reserve, and the other's going to head over to Burnside's Bridge just to reinforce those regiments there. Meanwhile, over on my opposite flank, it looks like Hooker's Corps is up to something. They were at Nicodemus Hill, and I've noticed them moving around my left flank. So it doesn't appear they're going to directly attack my front, but instead try to outflank me, which is actually a pretty good move by the AI in this game. I suppose that's what they were scripted to do, and I think it's a good move. If they're successful, they should at least pose a challenge for me over on my left, because I really wasn't anticipating an attack from that direction. So they did catch me off guard here, and I'm just going to have to adjust over on that flank. But I do have Jackson's division over there, and they have been reinforced by my 2 cavalry brigades, and I've also moved Hood's brigade of Texans over there, and also Barksdale's brigade from McLaws. So I have plenty of manpower on that flank to resist the First Corps. We're just going to have to fight it out in the open. Now, I do have Toombs's brigade engaged over at the Burnsides Bridge area, but I'm not too concerned about the Federals being able to cross there. As I've said in the past, the AI just can't cross a bridge to save their lives. And I will say this, the AI does deserve some credit here. In the previous game, after turn number 7, where I'm at in this game, the casualties were this. That's pretty ridiculous. The game was already over by this point in my last contest. But in this battle, the casualties are only this. So the Federal AI is being much more conservative in how they attack so far in this battle. And yes, that is a good thing. But on the other hand, they're allowing me a lot of time to set my lines, and I'm saving a whole lot of artillery ammunition for when I'll need it later on. Alright, well let's just keep going here and go to turn number 8. And this caught me completely off guard, and it's my own fault. I think this is me not really paying much attention because I won so easily in the last game. It's my own fault. I did not realize that over by Burnsides Bridge, the creek is gone. What just happened? So when they designed this game, I suppose they realized that it was too difficult for the AI to cross bridges, and that is a legitimate problem. Therefore, they got rid of the bridges and just turned the surrounding hexes around Burnsides Bridge into stream, which means they can just march right across that area with no problem. That is a smart move by the designers to do that. And it's a dumb thing on my part that I did not realize it until now. Again, that's another mental mistake by me. But I'm not going to take all the blame here because, to be honest, WDS, please, tell us when these big changes occur in the scenario descriptions. It would have been nice to know that the Federal Army is released by 9 a.m. It would have been nice to know that the creek is no longer a creek in some area. And it would have been good to know that the Confederates are released earlier than usual. But none of that is mentioned in the scenario description. I feel like that's something they should cover. Maybe they just want it to be a surprise. If that's the case, congratulations, I was definitely surprised. But I'm really not too worried because I can adjust. I'm going to send Walker's division and part of Anderson's division over to the Burnsides Bridge area. That should be able to stop their advance over the stream and push them back. If I can regain control of that area, I should be just fine. Meanwhile, on my opposite flank, major fighting has flared up on Jackson's left. The AI did attack this turn, but they were bloodily repulsed. I have an awful lot of guns up in that area, so for the Federal AI to attack me successfully is going to be very difficult. I'm finally going to use all that artillery ammunition that I've been saving up, and I'm just going to pour it directly into the First Corps. Alright, moving forward to turn number 9, 7:40 a.m. in the game. And the heavy fighting has continued on Jackson's front. But the AI is still taking very heavy losses, attacking against what is a very well-defended line, studded with artillery pieces. Now in the last battle, I frequently complained that the AI was too often putting their commanders in the front lines. Brigade commanders in the front lines, that's fine. But divisional and above, that should never happen. Well, in this game, they're continuing to do the same exact thing. I don't know why I was hoping it would be any different. I should have known better. So the AI is attacking with their divisional commander in their front lines, and not surprisingly, Ricketts became the first leader casualty in this battle when he was wounded attacking Jackson's flank. The AI just really needs to clean it up in that regard and stop putting divisional or corps or even army commanders in their front lines. It's a bad look. Now over on the Burnside's bridge front, I am closing in on the AI forces which crossed the stream or creek earlier, and I'm going to make them pay. You know, it really did throw me for a loop when they crossed there so unexpectedly, but I should be able to close that gap pretty quickly and reestablish my line. Going forward to turn number 10 in the game, and sure enough, I was able to surround the AI forces which earlier crossed the Burnside's stream area, and I'm going to be able to capture all those men. Meanwhile, on my opposite flank, heavy fighting continues on my left, but the AI is just getting wiped out as they attack against very heavily defended lines. Now, whenever you play the Battle of Antietam, you usually think of the action occurring across the cornfield and the east and west woods area, but I've had no fighting up to this point along that part of the line. Well, it looks like the AI is attacking finally against the Dunker Church area, and it took them an awful long time, which I really did find surprising because, as I said, that's usually the first place where action occurs. So I suppose it took the 11th Corps a while to get into battle formation and to begin their attack. Once this attack begins, it's going to be met with very heavy resistance, as I have numerous breastworks already set up, I have an awful lot of artillery pieces, and I just don't see any way the Federal AI could ever take that position given how strong it is at this point. So far, the action has mostly occurred though on my two flanks, over at the Burnside's Bridge area, and then over on my left with Jackson's division south of Nicodemus Hill. The rest of the battle line so far has been relatively quiet, but I anticipate that changing over the next few hours. Alright, well, let's take a break here. We are 10 turns into the game. This is the casualties so far in the game. So as you can see, there hasn't been a lot of losses for either side just yet. I anticipate that to change over the next 10 turns or so. Overall, is the AI performing better? Well, it's too early to tell. They did give me a lot of time at the start of this battle to prepare my defenses, and they are going to pay for that. They already are over with the 1st Corps. But maybe they have some sort of master plan that I don't see coming, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for now and just say it's too early to tell whether or not the AI is improved for this game because they are scripted. Alright everybody, thank you for watching as always, I appreciate it. If you'd like to learn more about the American Civil War Gaming Club, remember you can go to acwgc.net to check us out there. Alright everybody, until next time, just remember, keep gaming.